Dear student, welcome in CEC Gurukul lectures. We are in the series of the characterization of nanomaterials. In today's lecture, we discuss about the rest part of the scanning electron microscope and detail about the transmission electron microscopy. Means we discuss about both the methods SEM and TEM. I am Dr. Sonia Bansal from J.C. Bose University of Science and Technology, YMCA Faridabad. We start with the electron microscopy, as we know that these three methods are very important for the characterization of nanomaterials: scanning electron microscopy, transmission electron microscopy, and scanning tunneling microscopy. So in the last lecture we discussed a brief idea about the scanning electron microscopy. We will move further. We discuss about the principle and the working of the SEM. Now, scanning electron microscope, SEM, we all know that it is used for the visualization of the surface of the object. Means we can analyze the surface of any material which we prepare by using the SEM. So here we discuss the principle of working of SEM. You see on the right hand side diagram, there is a surface which is not smooth, and here there is an interaction of the electrons on the surface of the specimen, and what phenomenon occurs, that has been defined here. So a beam of electron fall upon the specimen and we get the secondary electrons, we get the backscattered electron, we get the X-rays by using the primary electrons, and we also got the auger. So incoming primary electrons can be reflected or the backscattered from the specimen, and it can release the secondary electrons, and these secondary electrons used in getting the surface area, getting the surface scanning of the sample. Primary electrons are focused on a small diameter electron probe that is scanned across the specimen. Means primary electrons which is falling from the electron beam, source of electron beam, and it will scan the particular area in the form of the square or the rectangle, and it will scan the area, and the secondary electrons will be ejected, and these secondary electrons find out the property of a material. So here electrostatic or magnetic field apply at the right angle to the beam can be used to change the direction of travel. Means in the last lecture we discussed that we apply the magnetic field, apply the lenses that will make the electron beam in such a direction, in a particular angle, to fall upon a specimen. So electrostatic or electric field apply at the right angle to the beam that can be used to travel the electron beam in a particular direction. Next, by scanning the simultaneously in the two perpendicular direction, a square or a rectangle area of the specimen can be covered. That rectangle area of the specimen is called the raster. Means we are using the electron beam, and this beam scan the square or the rectangle area of the specimen. Then what happened? Then we can get the image of this area that can be formed by collecting the secondary electron from each point of the specimen, and this image is the SEM image, scanning electron microscope, that represent the surface of the material which prepared. Next, now here we see in the diagram the electron gun, where the electron beam fall upon a sample by passing from the various lenses. Now here we start from the one by one. We will take electron gun that consists of cathode and anode. From here electron beam will ejected, and this electron beam passed from the condensed lens. That is the first condensed lens. The condensed lenses controls the amount of electrons traveling down the columns. Here we see that the first condenser lens, then second condenser lens. From here the beam is passing. After that, this beam fall upon the objective lens. The objective lens focuses the beam into a spot on the sample. It means objective lens plays a very important role to fall the electron beam at a particular area on the sample. And from here the deflection coil helps to deflect the electron beam. We see on the bottom there is a deflector that will deflect the electron beam, and this beam fall upon a sample, and from the sample the secondary electron diffracted attracts the secondary electron, and then additional sensors are used to detect the backscattered electrons and X-ray. So this is the method how the SEM works. Now just we see the working in this video. Here we see that this is a arrangement. On the bottom, on the top we have a column, and on the bottom this is a sample chamber, and this is a covered plate. Now we are seeing that high vacuum is created inside this chamber, so that this is a sample, this is a specimen stage where we can put the specimen, and this specimen plate is inside the vacuum of the chamber. Now we put the specimen on this specimen plate, and from here we have the thermionic electrode cathode, where we can find out where we can get the electron beam, and this is the anode, which is from where the beam is passed, and this beam fall upon a specimen. You are seeing that the beam is falling in a broad manner on the specimen, because we are not using any condenser and objective lens. So if we not use any objective lens or condenser lens, then the direct beam fall upon a specimen. Now we see here that the electromagnetic lenses are used so that the direction of the electron beam can be changed. Now see that the affine electron beam is passed from this electrostatic lens, and electrostatic deflector are used which deflect the light, and then from here there is ASE's secondary electron detector. That detector is connected with the screen. That screen will give the image of the surface of the specimen, and in this detector the secondary electrons which are ejected from the specimen will fall upon this SE detector. It may be photomultiplier tube, it may be other type of detector, it has a sensor, and here we can see the various image on the screen. Now you see in the diagram that how the beam can be deflected by using the electromagnetic deflector by controlling from the computer screen. So you see that this beam cover all the surface area of the specimen. You see on the screen that how this beam is moving on the specimen, and this moving beam is scanning the surface, and you see on the right hand side you are getting on the screen, we can get the image, that is the SEM image, and this SEM image will detect the specimen, what type of specimen we are using. Now next we see that here the electron beam fall upon a specimen, then what type of output we will get? We will get secondary electrons that fall upon will ejected from the specimen, And this we are taking the example of the aluminum atom, where you see here the K shell, L shell and M shell, and at the center there is a nucleus. The primary electron strike with the inner electron, and then secondary electrons are ejected. Now we see that this there is a this electron will also when produce the characteristics of the X-ray photon, and here it will also ejected the back scattered electron, and when this primary electron will fall upon a inner part, then we can get the inner shell, then we can get the Auger electrons also. So many outputs from the surface we can get when the primary electrons fall upon a specimen. Means we can get the scattered electron. Now here see how many types of output we can get from here. Now see in this video that this is a scanning electron microscope, how the scanning electron microscope work. This we will see that three type of output we will get. One is from the primary electron, one is the secondary electron, second is the backscattered electron, and third is the X-ray. If the electron will pass from the inner shell, then we can get the Auger electron. So this is the these are the images that we can get from the we can get it from the detector. These are the some images of the specimens. Means when it scan the surface, it will give the good resolution and good magnification, and this these images are used for the further applications. So these are the image we get from the SEM. Now this is the crystalline latex particles, which is a clear cut image of the specimen we can get. This is a polymer hydrogel surface. This is the image of the polymer surface, and now we see the wood fiber image here. On the left hand side we are seeing the blood cells, the image of the blood cells. And if we enlarge it, then on the right hand side we can get it, the different type of images we can get from the SEM. Now what are the advantages of this scanning electron microscope? A bulk sample can be observed and a large sample area can be viewed. Means we can cover all the area of the specimen by using the tip of the electron beam, or we can scan all the surface area. So a bulk sample can be also used to examine, and it generates the photo like images, as we see in the previous, that these are the photo like images. Now here a very high resolution images are possible to get from the SEM. Means SEM produce a very high magnification and high resolution images, and SEM can yield valuable information regarding the purity as well as the aggregation and what are the doping we just done in an element, that you can find out by using the SEM. What are the disadvantages of the SEM? Samples must have the surface electrical conductivity, and it causes a great efforts, and non-conducting samples need to be coated with a conductive layer to get the SEM. This is a disadvantage. This is a very time consuming and expensive method. Sometimes it is not possible to clarify the differentiate the nanoparticles and the substrate, because the nanoparticles are prepared on the substrate. In film we are prepared on the substrate. Sometimes it is not exactly we can get the composition and exactly we can get the property of the nanoparticles. The SEM cannot resolve the internal structure of these domains. So there are some disadvantages, but still SEM has many advantages. So it is used for the characterization of the nanoparticles using the electron beam. Now next topic we will discuss, that is the electron microscopy part, which is the transmission electron microscopy. Transmission, as the name suggests, the electron beam transmit from the sample. So this transmission electron microscopy terms allow to study the inner structure of the specimen. It may be nanoparticle or the bulk material. So from the transmission electron microscopy we can find out the inner structure of the material or the nanoparticles. In the previous we are scanning the surface, in the SAM we are scanning the surface, in the transmission electron microscopy we are getting the inner structure of the specimen and of the sample. So how it works, then what is this electron microscopy? The first type of electron microscope developed and is patterned exactly as a light transmission microscope, but the source is different. In the light transmission microscope, light beam is used, lamp is used, but here in the transmission electron microscope the electron beam is used. Means electron beam is focused instead of the light to see the specimen or to characterize the specimen. So it was first developed by the Max Knoll and Ernst Sachs in the Germany, and it was discovered in 1931, and this is used for the characterization purposes of the nanoparticles. Now transmission electron microscopy, that is that techniques where the beam of electron is transmitted. In the last scanning electron microscope, we use the word scan here, the beam of electron is transmitted through an ultra thin specimen that interacting with the specimen as it passes through. Means we are having a ultra thin sample, an electron will pass through this sample, and after that we can get the various characteristics of the sample. So an image is formed from the interaction of the electrons and the specimen, and this electron beam is transmitted through the specimen, and the image is magnified, focused on an imaging device such as the fluorescent screen, a photographic plate, or to be deflected by a sensor such as CCD camera. So we can get the images when the electron beam transmitted from the sample. Now what are the difference between the optical microscope and the electron microscope? Because in both the methods, scanning electron microscope and transmission electron microscope, we are using the electron beam, and that is a part of the electron microscopy. So what are the difference between the optical microscope and the electron microscopy? Optical means light, so here we use the light source. The specimen need not be processed, direct specimen can be put inside a chamber, and sometimes no vacuum is required to analyze the sample. So the simple sample specimen can be used for the characterization. The lenses that make the specimen seems bigger, but they will not deflect the light, and they are not used for the direction of the light or for the movement of the light. The fourth point is the magnified images of the specimen can be formed, but not so resoluted images we can get from this optical microscopy. So electron microscopy, the light source is replaced by the very fast moving electron beam. Second, the specimen usually has to be specially prepared and then held inside the vacuum chamber from where the air has been pumped out, because the electron do not travel very far in the air. So all the setup will close into the vacuum. And third point, the lenses are replaced by the series of the coil shaped electromagnet, that are the condensed lens and the objective lens. So the lenses are replaced by the series of the coil shaped electromagnets through which the electron beam is travelled inside the chamber from the source of electron beam to the specimen. The image means output the output can be get on the computer screen. The image is formed as a photograph, that is called the electron micrograph, and this image can be get on the TV screen. So these are the difference between the optical microscope and electron microscope. Now what we can do with this TEM, what we can get the output from this transmission electron microscopy. This is sometimes similar to that of the scanning electron microscope, but here the light is transmitted, so we can find out the morphology that can give the various parameters like shape, size, order of the particles in the sample, that we can get from the morphology. Crystalline structure we can find out which can give the parameters or which can give the arrangement of the atoms in the sample, and it also find out the defect in the crystalline structure by using the crystal structure. Composition, we can also find out the elemental composition of the sample can be find out by using the TEM. So from TEM we can find the morphology, crystalline structure and the composition of the material. What is the principle behind the TEM? TEM, as a name suggests, transmission electron microscope. So electron beam is used, and the crystalline sample, electron beam pass from the crystalline sample by deflection, not absorption. Here the crystalline sample interact with the electron beam mostly by the diffraction rather than the absorption. Next, the intensity of the diffraction depends upon the orientation of the plane of atoms in the crystal related to the electron beam. This means the light which is deflected depends upon the orientation of the plane of the atoms. Next, a high contrast image can be formed. How it can be formed? By blocking the deflecting electron, which produce the variation of the intensity that reveals the information of the crystal structure it is passed from the sample. This can be generated both the bright or light field or dark field images by using this TEM. Next, you see this is the arrangement of TEM. From the previous from topmost we are having the electron gun. From this electron gun we see that anode is put after the electron gun, that is a cathode, and it passes from the anode, and we see here there are various lenses like condenser lenses, second is the aperture lenses, and intermediate lenses. And you see from here, from the top here we are having the electron gun beam pass from the anode, then from the condenser lens, and it fall upon the specimen. Now see that the position of the specimen changed in the time. In the SEM it is at the bottom. Now in the TEM it is after the condenser lens. Then objective lens is placed after the specimen. Then intermediate lenses, and at the bottom we are having the projector lens and the fluorescent screen that will give the image of the specimen when it is passed from the electron beam passed from the specimen or the sample. Thank you very much. We will continue.